Alright, hey guys, so today is just another full set collection video of something that I've been working on. So I have many different sets on the go, including basically all of the Series 1 and 2 regular and canvas sets going way back. So some of them I'm done, some of them I'm not, some of them I'm close, some of them I'm not. But anyways, I just like to show them on the channel, bit of a different video as opposed to just box breaks all the time. So this is 2017-18 Upper Deck Series 1, 2, the update set, and some exclusives and clear cuts. So obviously we just start with the base set. Nothing crazy here. 1 to 200 is Series 1, and this design does remind me a lot of 14-15, but as you know, all the Upper Deck products are just going through the roof right now. I remember buying Series 1 retail boxes. They were like $35–40 back in the summer, and now they're already double that. So we'll also get into all the values of the cards with little tables and spreadsheets at the end. I always think it's interesting to check that out as well. But as we come to the end here, we begin to look at our Young Guns. So here's the Young Guns page. What I do is I leave the more valuable guys, usually in top loaders or one touches depending on who it is. So I've got the top 6, I believe, out of the binders. So the first one would be Nico Hischier. So he's about a $25 card right now. I'm using all eBay dollars Canadian right now. We'll look at eBay versus Beckett kind of later on. But Nico Hischier is the first one, $25 card. He's a pretty good player. Obviously was a #1 overall pick, so he was the highly touted young gun at the beginning. But he's no longer the top guy, but he's been injured a lot of this year, so he hasn't really had a chance to deflate or inflate his totals. One of the surprising ones would be Kailer Yamamoto. He's on the Edmonton Oilers, so Canadian teams usually have pretty good values as there's a lot of fans. But he is going for about $27.50 right now, so that's kind of surprising. I don't think his production kind of warrants that, but maybe that's just me. And the other big one from the first page would be Pierre-Luc Dubois. So he had a little bit of a rough start to the year, I guess, with the trade situation. But now he's gone out to Columbus, hopefully finding himself in Winnipeg soon. And this is a more expensive card, hovering around $35. So now we can get back to the rest of the cards here. So some other good ones. We have Denis Gurianov, Alex Kerfoot, and Adrian Kempe. Those are pretty solid players. Jake DeBrusk is pretty good. Yanni Kukinen's actually playing a lot, so I think he's got about 5 goals already this year. Rasmus Anderson's another really good stud for the Flames. And then the next one here missing would be the biggest young gun, or sorry, one of the biggest, Alex DeBrincat. So Alex DeBrincat's killing it this year with the Blackhawks. He is one of the top scorers in the league. I think he was top 10 when I'm filming this video. And this card is worth about $50, so crazy to see Alex DeBrincat rising up like that. All right, so moving along. And there's a lot of kind of mid-level NHLers, that guys that are in the lineup but not necessarily a top 6 role. Guys like Christian Fischer, Philip Hedl, Hayden Fleury's another one. Jack Roslovic's having a pretty solid year. And then this one here, I believe it would be Charlie McAvoy. So he's now one of the top pairings for the Boston Bruins, now that Torrey Krug is gone. And he's about a $25 card as well, kind of similar pace to Nico Hischier. So pretty good for a defenseman, and he is a very good D, puts up a lot of points. One young gun that seems to be falling is Victor Mete, as he's kind of the 7th D for the Montreal Canadiens, not really performing. So next up, one of the biggest young guns, and actually the biggest young gun in Series 1, 2, and the update set this year, would be Brock Besser. So right now he's carrying about a $55 value, and he's a great player for Vancouver. He had a little bit of a sophomore slump, if I remember correctly, but he's picking it up a little bit. So there's Brock Besser. And the final bigger card for Series 1 would be Alex Tuch. So he's having a great year with Vegas. I believe he's got about 12 goals already as I'm filming. So he's another good guy. And I think his young gun's probably worth $10 to $15. So anyways, that's the end of Series 1. Now we can move on to Series 2. So again, we just have the base. They're in alphabetical order by team, as Upper Deck put it. And this is going to be numbers 251 all the way through 450. Alright, so now we can move on to Series 2. So Series 2 is a very interesting crop of a lot of players that are kind of finding their game in the NHL and now slowly rising into prominence. But there are no kind of bigger names, as we'll see. So the first big name, which is missing right here, is going to be Nolan Patrick. So he's a $15 card right now, and obviously he's struggled with concussions, I believe, and migraines. He was a very high pick, but hopefully he can rediscover his game, as he does have still a lot of potential in my eyes. So that's Nolan Patrick. And as we go along, we'll just point out some more of the players that are in the league now. So Sammy Blais, I believe he's playing second line for the Blues. Aiden Hill is now backing up the Yotes, as Darcy Kemper's injured. Alex Iafallo is a pretty good player for the Kings. Mackenzie Weegar's a fantastic player for the Florida Panthers. He's really playing well. And so here we've got a couple of missing ones, as you can see. So the first one would be Alex Nadalkovic. So this card has risen in value to $12.50. He obviously didn't play in the NHL for a while, so he wasn't really worth anything. But now he's sharing time with James Reimer, and he's actually playing a little bit more. And last I checked, he had a .926 save percentage, so he's doing really well with the Hurricanes. They actually waived him at the beginning of the season, and now he's a very big part of the team. So when Peter Mrazek comes back from injury, they have a lot to debate there. The biggest name card would be Martin Necas. So this is actually now the biggest young gun in the entire Series 2 set. It's going for $20 to $30, closer to $30 though. So Martin Necas. So he is now the biggest young gun in Series 2, which is very surprising. He's overtaken Patrick, he's overtaken Keller, and he's the biggest young gun. So he's on a very hot Hurricanes team that are doing well. And then another surprising riser in my eyes is Sammy Girard. So he's on the Colorado Avalanche, of course. He's a great defenseman for them, puts up a lot of points, and that team, in my eyes, is a Stanley Cup contender. So Sam Girard is worth about $20, and of course he's from Quebec, so that always helps with the French collectors. Moving along, some other good players. Owen Tippett still has some potential. Jordan Schmaltz is playing with the Yotes on the first line, I believe. And then we got down here. This was the big name at the time when it was released, Clayton Keller. He did have, I believe, a 60-point rookie season, but for whatever reason, he's just not worth that much. About $17.50, so I guess between $15 to $20. So there's Clayton Keller. Don't have too much to say about him, as I don't really watch too many Yotes games. Moving along, Ville Husso is now backing up Jordan Binnington, so he is getting some NHL time. Otherwise, it's a pretty dry page there. Moving on to the next page, Brendan Lemieux is actually playing a pretty decent, I think, middle six or bottom six role for the Jets. And then Colin White is another kind of like $5 card for the Senators, as he's playing a little well. And then the last kind of big name young gun, I say big, but it's only a $10 value, is Andrew Mangiapane. So he's playing pretty well for the Calgary Flames. He's probably going to be like a 40-point scorer or something like that. So Andrew Mangiapane is the last guy. Again, $10 value. And that's the end of Series 2. So now we reach the update cards. So it begins with 501 Rick Nash. And thankfully for collectors like myself, the update set wasn't so huge. So there's just 9 base cards, ends with Doughty. And then I believe we've got about 12 young guns. So moving to the update young guns, the first one is going to be Casey DeSmith. So he's now backing up the Penguins. He's having an okay season. Penguins are still a playoff team. This is about a $15 card. Not sure if he's going to be a bona fide NHL player, but he seems to belong in the NHL at least. So there's Casey DeSmith. And then a lot of the other names are just guys I really haven't heard much of. Travis Boyd, I believe, is the Leafs now. Colby Cave, unfortunately, has passed away, so rest in peace to Colby Cave. David Kemp is playing for the Blackhawks. Jeff Glass had an interesting story, but now he's back in the minors, I believe. But the last big name here would be Alexander Georgiev. So he's obviously on the Rangers, and he's supposed to be backing up Igor Shesterkin, but now he's kind of taken a starting role over Keith Kincaid, as Shesterkin's been out with injuries. So this is another $15 card. The only thing I don't like about it is that they could have had it a nice picture, especially since he's a goalie. I don't really care for this portrait, boring-looking card. So that's the end of the update set. Now, just a couple cards to show you. I do have some exclusives, just 3 of them. I might be looking to move these cards as I don't really want to collect them anymore. But we've got Duclair, Eric Johnson, and Bo Horvat. So those are out of 100. And then we've got the clear-cut parallels, which are usually kind of a 1 in 4 hobby box exclusive thing. They're just basically a clear-cut version of the base card. So they do look very nice. And when we speak of hot players, actually, Mika Zibanejad just had a 6-point night last night. tying the NHL record for having 6 points in one period, so that might now be a pretty valuable card. And the final page just has a couple of my PC cards, so it would be James Reimer exclusives in clear cut as I collect James Reimer. And now we'll move on to the next part of the video where we look at some Beckett and eBay values and kind of see what a set like this is worth. So as I mentioned, I did want to take a look at some of the different values for these young guns because I find it fascinating to see how the player values fluctuate based on who they are and what they accomplish on the ice, whether that would be rising after putting up some big numbers or falling due to not living up to their hype and expectations. So I've compiled some data for each set, Series 1, 2, and the updates. As you can see on screen, there's one column for the Beckett high low range in Canadian dollars, one for the same in American dollars, and then one column for what the card typically sells for on eBay in the last month or so. And keep in mind this data is from March 18th of 2021, so your Series 1 Beckett values range from $308 to $781, but the eBay values say the full set would be worth the $325 range. Series 2, the value is much lower, with Beckett suggesting about $213 to $550, and eBay putting up a full set near $200. As for the update set, Beckett would suggest $40 to $97 for the set, but it seems like they haven't updated their values in a while, as they still have Jeff Glass above Georgiev in value. eBay says around $60 for the full set, which I think is appropriate. Also, there's 10 clear-cut parallels and 4 exclusives out of 100 in my collection, so the eBay values for those are about $33.50. For some reason, Beckett really inflates the price on these parallels. So overall, this binder here is worth around $700 on eBay, and it books for anywhere from $636 to $1,600 Canadian. There's no crazy valuable cards aside from the Besser and DeBrincat, but this is definitely a class that seems to be on the rise. So thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed checking out my full set of base cards and young guns. From time to time, I'll keep posting videos like this, as I have tons of full sets of everything from MVP to McDonald's to Tim Hortons and even various collectibles as well. So thanks again, make sure to like and subscribe for all your hockey card content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.